Today, if you think the Super Mario Galaxy movie soundtrack is sick, there's a good reason why. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint. We're all going to hell someday.
Like, in the sense of, it's 5 o'clock somewhere?
Nah, in hell it's probably more like 8:27 a.m.
Oh. The Super Mario Galaxy movie opened this week to honest reviews, but few, if any, critics lambasted the musical score. The composer, Brian Tyler, has the kind of work ethic that employers dream about and makes the rest of the remote workforce feel icky enough to change into fresh pajamas. Tyler wrote much of the music for Super Mario Galaxy from a long stay in a hospital bed after a medical emergency. He suffered a double subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, which is an often fatal injury caused by too many germs piling up on screen faster than Dr. Mario can arrange pills of the correct color to clear all the lines. Okay, actually, it's bleeding inside the brain, specifically below the arachnoid layer, which is where I assume all of your brain spiders live. Although most people die from this kind of thing happening to them, Brian Tyler did not die, nor did he stop working on two different film scores, Mario and Nuremberg. He didn't even mention it to his contacts at Nintendo. Apparently he didn't want to let anyone down. Meanwhile, Nelson almost didn't write this news story because his back hurt a little bit. While scary, Brian Tyler's brush with death brought him a new lease on life and renewed vigor for composing music. We at CheckPoint wish him all the best in his future endeavors and plan to bring balance to the universe by doing absolutely nothing productive when we get so much as a slight headache.
Impossible Mission is a cult classic game for the Commodore 64 and one that I actually played a lot of. It had a vaguely James Bond spy thriller narrative, smooth animation, and perhaps, most importantly, an immediately captivating voice sample, a rarity for the day. Let's enjoy it now.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Nice. It was followed by a sequel in 1988, and then, very amusingly, a port of the first game was made in 1994 for the Amiga, named Impossible Mission 2025. And now, in 2026, and for reasons known only to the developers, there is a third game in development. Impossible Mission 3 promises to bring classic Impossible Mission gameplay into the modern age. In that, you'll be able to optionally download it, not because it's a slick new platformer inspired by a retro franchise. No, it's literally a new Commodore 64 game. It has much the same graphics and gameplay as the original, but with new mechanics, and looks like exactly the sequel that, in a just world, would have released in 1990. But it's 2026, so as well as getting a version available on a cartridge or tape, you can get a USB drive that looks like a tape to play on emulator. And if we graph these releases, then Impossible Mission 4 should release in 2387, but not before an Amiga port of Impossible Mission 2 is released in 2087 under the name Impossible Mission 2386.
It has been absolutely, definitively, without a doubt, maybe rumored, that when the God of War Trilogy gets remade for the PS5, it's getting its sex minigames back. This comes to us from God of War actor T.C. Carson, who was asked by IGN about the return of sex minigames and responded, quote, "You know what? All you dudes, all you men, I think so." As someone who supports the inclusion of sex in all sorts of art because it's an integral part of the human experience, is this it? Is God of War the franchise that we should expect this from? I suppose it should, because if you can run a butt plug off of Ultra Kill, then I don't think we should be excluding anyone's sexual expression. But I would at least expect it to be novel. Like, it's obvious that a QuickTime event or a rhythm minigame is the first go-to for male-centric action games because it's a natural fit, ribbed for your pleasure. Are you DTF and already pressing a bunch of buttons? Then just tap left and right like your dick is trapped in an old copy of Track and Field. How erotic. Projects like buttplug.io do start to integrate more specialized hardware into interactivity, but ultimately most gamers are going to have, at best, a vibrating controller with buttons and joysticks, and that's it. This is a problem because sex isn't just a collection of buttons to push and nubbins to swizzle. Plus, how do you come at sex in this context? Once you've unlocked sex, how many times can you have it? Is it necessary to win at sex in order to continue the game? Or is sex a reward for the player? And let's ignore what that implies because I freely admit I am still trying to break my brain of that adolescent cognitive cul-de-sac. Can you have positive or negative outcomes that feel like they're relevant to the characters? Does Kratos ever just say, holy shit, can I have like 20 minutes? I just got done killing a god. Let me have at least a drink of water or something for Christ's sake. Ultimately, the point is, will I be able to speedrun these games by tenderly nudging the twin sticks of a DualSense with a Hitachi magic wand? Because I am prepared to make the attempt. I'm not the fucking CEO for no reason.
In an interview with Sunny Games, Undead Lab studio head Philip Holt disclosed that the 2020 trailer for State of Decay 3 featured content which would not appear in the finished game because work on the game had not begun when the trailer was released. In the interview, nominally discussing State of Decay 3's upcoming alpha playtest, Holt was asked about the zombie deer shown in the now 6-year-old trailer. Holt answered, quote, "No zombie deer. That trailer in 2020, there wasn't really a game or a game team when we were working on that trailer. It was so early, you know, and I think there wasn't even a team. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 people. The game was in a Word document. There was really like the very beginnings of software." Sure, why the fuck not? This is an objectively funny statement. Should a trailer, which is a form of advertisement, reflect the completed product? Probably, but there can be a surprising amount of wiggle room. Teasers and trailers can simply establish the game's mood. In some cases, such as with Gears of War's quiet, meditative trailers, they may function as an emotional counterweight to the gameplay. Halo 3's live-action Believe campaign showed survivors of the game's events commenting on their historical importance. Civilization V's trailer showed scenes of epic drama played out underneath quotes on statesmanship, which I suppose at a certain level of abstraction could be understood to reflect Civ 5's gameplay, if you squint. Looks cool, though. It is worth noting that in order for a trailer to exist in a dialogue with a game, that game needs to exist. Otherwise, it's just a kinda neat video. That's also okay. You can make a kinda neat video. As millennials, we love kinda neat videos. Heck, we make kinda neat videos. Print and television advertisements for video games from the 1990s frequently had almost nothing to do with the game being advertised. We have always been sold the sizzle. However, if you're trying to sell me a game, I expect you to have a game to sell. If I'm being sold sizzle, I do expect a steak and not a fucking Word document.
If you could eat a Word document, what would it taste like?
Well, it wouldn't be vegan.
Why?
Well, I assume Clippet is in there somewhere.
Clippet could hypothetically consent to being eaten.
Clippet doesn't understand consent. You know how many times I've told that asshole to fuck off?
Coming up, Artemis 2 has released more images from the moon, including one of Mario getting his twerk on. Is it guerrilla marketing for the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Unlikely, since the photo also includes a giraffe with my dad's face telling me he burned my polka dot lunch. Also, I want to say guerrilla now. Guerrilla. Because I heard somebody say it once because the original pronunciation of it in like fucking Portuguese or whatever it is, you're supposed to say the L's like you would say two, like a double L together in French is an Y sound, like oreille, like to hear something.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The word gorilla is like guerrilla, you know, is it guerrilla marketing for the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Oh, you thought I meant the word gorilla. Like gorilla,
talking about giraffe.
Oh, I see.
I was like, what are you talking about?
You were already there. Yeah. Oh, actually, it would have been funny if I said if the photo included a gorilla with my dad's face. Yeah, that would have really fucked people up.
Right, guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Sorry, you had made a cognitive leap and not brought me along with you. I was so lost. Speaking of pronunciation, there was video game news, but what was much funnier to us before we started recording was discussing the difference between lambasted and lambasted.
Yeah.
Both are acceptable. To be clear,
yep.
According to Merriam-Webster, both are acceptable. But lambasted, the way that we say, as if As if you're complimenting the chef.
Yeah.
Lamb-based. That's how we say it.
Yeah.
But there was a comment in a recent checkpoint. I think it was in a recent checkpoint where I said it, and someone was like, the way that Graham says lamb-based, it makes me think I've been doing it wrong this whole time. All that did is make me go, have I been doing it wrong this whole time?
Yeah.
And then it was, and Nelson wrote that story, and it was in again this week, and so we were talking about it, and Paul went to look it up, and of course the Google
AI helper.
yeah, they're like, are these the suggestions? Are these the questions you're asking?
Yeah.
Is it pronounced lamb-basted or lamb-basted?
Yeah, it's just that the text thing where it's like, is it this or this? It's like I'm asking for pronunciation.
Yeah,
It's
which
like,
is the first one.
Ugh.
What?
Below the arachnoid layer, which I assume is where all your yeah. Just had the words in the wrong order. I could have said it, but I just decided to stop talking, and I haven't stopped talking yet.
Beej stops talking and he doesn't stop talking and he doesn't stop talking and he doesn't stop talking.
Did the brain spiders get to you?
Yeah. Fatal injury. Also, already is where that goes.
Are you also?
Rest of the remote workforce feel remote. I swear I said remote.
It did sound like you said remote.
I hate it when I give Heather all these outtakes. God damn it. I'm a professional.
I'm indifferent to it.
Thank you to Cameron for writing the story about games having trailers when they don't exist. And thank you to Nelson for writing the story about Super Mario Galaxy movie. I wrote the sex point, obviously. And I want to just point out that I showed a healthy amount of restraints. Because I was knee-deep in discussing many issues that were kind of also deal with a lot of questions I have myself about what's appropriate. How do you do this? How do you do that? And it's interrogating my own preconceptions and prejudices and compulsions, and just was I need to get off this thing. And that story could have been about 6 times longer and wasn't going to be fun for anyone to listen to, and was definitely not going to be fun for me to read. So I'm glad it got cut off where it did, but it did start making me think about the nature of sure, why shouldn't every game also have sex? But then it's also but also
how do you do that?
How do you do that, and why would it even be necessary?
I want to specify.
Because the absence of sex in something is also the choice to have sex or not.
There's an odd use of the passive voice there when the Beej's story got cut off. That's where Beej stopped writing this.
Yes. Yeah. I cut off.
We didn't step in and go, yo, rein it back, dude.
Yeah. I knew there was a point where I was like, this is not going well for anyone. Let's actually clean this up and try to say what I want to say.
But, I mean, you're right, because, I was thinking of GTA San Andreas.
Okay.
Right? And the infamous hot coffee.
Right.
Where, you go into the house with your girlfriend and then there's, a sex mini game or something. And they cut that, right? It wasn't in the game on purpose. Obviously, they had tried developing it, and there were still assets from it, which was the whole problem, and it could be accessed by hacking the files or whatever. But they had decided not to include it in the game. Shocking amount of restraint for Rockstar. I assume because it was bad.
Yeah. Because they're this is not an expression of what we think this should be like, and we're not. It's awkward and cringy or something like that, right?
I doubt very much that it was cut because of a ratings thing. I assume it was cut because they were this doesn't work as gameplay.
Yeah, we are not feeling this. So I remember you were playing Saints Row 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, "Hey, I need to show you this," and you showed me the sex cut scenes that you get on the spaceship.
Yes.
Which are all very funny, and you're like, you can just basically walk up to anybody on the ship and just basically initiate a sex, but it's not actual sex. They're not going to see anything prurient. It's everything's alluded to. And I was like, this is really funny, but why would they do this? And you had to explain it because I never played Mass Effect. It's because Mass Effect has kind of this same
as the romance thing.
Yeah, and I was like, right, and as a part of expressing that through a game, for Mass Effect to say, we want this to be part of the story, it's right. But it is ultimately, even though you're in control, you only get to do it when the scene has allowed you the opportunity to say, this is when I'm going to do this.
So in Mass Effect, there are all the members of your crew who, there are certain ones who are flagged as potential romantic partners, and you can go through the sort of RPG conversation tree and build up relationships with them over time, and then depending on who you pursue and who you talk to and what you say and how they react and everything, then you can have a romantic relationship with them, and there's full on like sex cutscenes in the Mass Effect games. And in Saints Row, as a way of sending that up, you can just walk up to any of your crew and be like, "Hey, want to have sex?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah.
And then you both just like do out of shot.
Keith David.
Except for Keith David.
Yeah. Which is very funny.
It's Keith David playing Keith David.
Yeah.
And so you go up and you're like, "Hey, want to have sex?" And he's like, "Nope." And you're like, "Okay."
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
That's the kind of thing where I'm like, right, you can express any of this however it is that you want to do it. And I was like, when I was initially thinking of this story, like going through, I'm like, oh God, why is God of War doing this? And I immediately pivoted because I'm like, because why shouldn't they be allowed to? Even if it feels awkward or cringe or doesn't fit, why shouldn't they be able to try to explore doing something like this in the first place, right?
Can I ask, were they, because they might be getting them back, were they removed from a remaster or something?
I don't think
because I remember them from the original games, and they were very like, I mean, you mentioned
again tongue in cheek,
but like you mentioned track and field, like it's very much just sort of like there's Kratos, there's a naked lady, you go behind a curtain or you go slightly out of shot or something, you don't see anything, and you just sort of go. You like tap buttons or you like mash X or something,
and then you hear combat grunts.
You hear. I believe in voice acting they're called efforts from both parties, and then in a rather ejaculatory way, a whole bunch of experience orbs go. And then that's it, and you just move on with the game. I recall them being like, "Oh, this is a thing," and you know, it's being a boy at the time, I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
But like, it to me, that has never been like a hallmark of the God of War games.
No,
it's certainly a thing that they did, but it's not. I don't think the God of War franchise, going as it's been going forward, has been losing anything by not having stuff like that.
Right.
Because it is, as you said in the story, it's very like sex.
Yeah.
We did it.
And there's a lot of there's all the points of like how much of this is constructed as a reward for the player as opposed to like it's an obvious development of what the character should be going through at any of these characters should be going through at any one point. Is Kratos being kind of coerced into sleeping with Aphrodite, or is like, I've never played the game, so it's like how if all that stuff has to do with the plot and the character, then okay, interesting, more great. But it's like, is this a stand-in for something else, or is it like this is the place where we can put that in the game, and all these kind of questions about
in context, it definitely feels much more like it'd be funny.
Yeah, that's the thing is that the questions that I was like in bringing up where I was like, I don't exactly know how I want to explore this, but all I can really do is ask the questions because I don't think I can answer any of them.
I do think this is a terrible response, by the way, from the voice actor of, you know what, all you dudes, all you men, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah, because he was also when IGN was like, oh, breaking news, and he's like, no, I just said I think so, right? Like, he was kind of walking back. It's like, I want to give you all hope that it's going to be in there, but also I didn't say anything. I didn't admit to anything happening.
It's like, look, there's like 3 hours of me grunting. It could be used for anything.
Exactly.
Don't hold me to this.
Yeah.
But we can hold you to please support us on Patreon. Great.
Which a lot of you have.
Yeah. It's wonderful. Thank you.
That's been
really
killer.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And the more that happens, the better it is for all sorts of things around here.
And the Patreon or the YouTube memberships here. Either way. And we'll shout outs to those of you at the end of this video. But even if you can only do like $2 a month, if everyone did it, that'd be huge. But you can also do more than that. You can choose. You can choose it, and we'll take any of it. Thanks. Check out the store, store.loadingreadyrun.com. There's cool stuff there. But until we talk to you again, I don't have anything further to add.
Other than there's a PPR this weekend.
Oh gosh, there's a PPR tomorrow. At time of airing, there's a PPR, Secrets of Strixhaven, tomorrow. And let me tell you, the set looks sweet. This might be the best set of the year. We haven't seen anything from Reality Fracture yet, but Strixhaven looks like it's pretty amazing. And Lorwyn was already a very strong start, but this set looks sweet.
Nice.
So tune in for that, and VOD will be up on the LRRMTG YouTube channel. Okay, bye now for real.
Stay forever.